Okay, good morning. Today we will be learning about the FlexMOS Pro app on Android. You will see on my screen I actually have a website up, m.flexmos.com. It is basically the same thing. The Android site and the m.flexmos.com site is the same. So I will be teaching off my computer. So this class will be about 50 minutes to an hour long, depending on how many questions we have. So let's get started. So when you walk into your Android app, this is the screen that you're going to see. Now, the reason I teach this class separately from the iOS or the Apple class is because there are some differences in functionality. And so I find if people are trying to follow along on their Android, they get confused. So it makes a lot of sense to separate these classes. So when you log into your app, this is what you're going to see. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is the quick launch bar. And if you remember from the FlexMOS 101 class, if you took that with me, you know that you can type things into the quick launch bar. So some examples would be, number one, an MLS number. Number two, an address. Number three, a radius. Number four, a name. So it could be a name of like say a search or a name of a person. And then number five is an actual search. So active listings between 250 and 300,000 in say Jacksonville. So I'm just going to type in a couple examples here to show you how this works. But again, if you want to see all the functionality for what is the quick launch right here, you can watch the FlexMOS 101 video. So why would you use the quick launch on your app? Well, let's say you're out with a client or you meet a client and they found a property on Zillow or another website and they give it to you. And they say, hey, can we check this one out as well? Well, a lot of realtors, they think, oh, well, I didn't print off the listing report or I need to go back to the office. You don't, because what you can just do is tap in this right here. And then you can put in an MLS number. So I'm going to put in 1002-35800. So I put in the MLS number. Give it a second to load. And it should pull up that MLS number. Try that one more time. Okay. Looks like I'm getting a delay on internet, so I'll just show you how this works. So we put in the MLS number and you would tap on this and it would go to that listing. Now, another example would be if you have an address. Let's say they found something online on another site and they give you the address. So you just type in the address and it would go to this property. I think because I'm emulating the website, it's not actually going to it, but on your app, it would go to it. So the other things that you could do here is you could put in a radius. So we would do like say 1 mile or 2 miles or 3 miles from, and you could put in that MLS number or address. So what's really cool about this is, let's say you're out with your client. See right here, that 1 mile radius. You're out with your client and you say, okay, that you looked at 3 properties and they don't like any of those 3 properties, but they want to see if there's anything else in that neighborhood. Well, you can do a radius around your current location, put in that address or that MLS number, and then you could do a search around your current location. So the quick launch is a quick way to start stuff in the system. So it's basically the same functionality that you see on your desktop site. And then you'll also notice we have some recent searches. So searches that I did 2 days ago when I did my Apple class. Now the other options, address, MLS, and save searches, I will do the new search last on this screen because I find that's the most important. But so for example, we're gonna do address. So if I tap on address, it gives me an option for a simple and advanced. So you would do something like 1297 Bryan. And so now we see the view listing. Tap on that and that will pull up that property. So if you have an address, you tap to go back whenever you're in the app, look in the upper left corner and you're going to tap on that. That's going to bring you to the previous screen because you're using your phone. A lot of times you can use the back button as well, but I like to use what's up in the upper left corner. The other option is advanced. If you do advanced, This can be more if you have to do some detective work. So if they say, oh, I remember there was a house on the 200 block of Oak something, you could do some detective work here. And so we find 530 listings. If I keep going down, I do notice that there is a status. So you'd probably switch this to just active to see if there's any active listings, and you find those 5 listings. You could tap on that and you can look through these properties and see, oh, is this, oh, they said that it was kind of like a teal blue one. Well, this is the property. So if you need to do some detective work, the advanced address search really is the way to go. And just keep going back. And don't worry, this is being recorded. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the MLS number. Now I showed you can type in an MLS number in the quick launch bar and go to that property. If you tap on the MLS number here, this allows you to do multiple MLS numbers. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put in 1002 35800 1002 35801. So for example, your client has given you 2 MLS numbers. You see the 2 listings and you can pull them up. So one's a really nice house, and then the other one happens to be a rental. So they aren't sure if they want to rent for a while or if they want to buy a house. But that's one way to pull up multiple MLS numbers. And if you want to look at the information about any of these properties, all you do is just tap on the photo of the listing. And it should pull up that property. And so you see the map option. If you want to get driving directions to that individual property, let's say your client gave you an MLS number or an address and you didn't originally have that on your route for your open houses, the map is how you can access that. You scroll down and then it's going to see all the information about the listing. Now, your FlexMLS app, this is the Pro app, meaning it's the private version meant for you. So if your client's looking over your shoulder, they're going to see like the other realtor's name, commission rates, all that, what was private information is going to show. So this is the FlexMLS Pro app. So just be aware that, again, if they're looking over your shoulder, they will see everything. Now, the saved searches, what's really cool about the saved searches is if I tap on saved searches, I can pull up my saved searches and I see all of them right here. Now, why is this important? Well, any search that you save on your mobile app will go into the desktop site and vice versa. If I save something on the desktop site, I can pull it up in my mobile app. So a lot of times it takes a couple minutes to sync to refresh with the database. But what's really cool about this is, let's say you're doing a search, you did a search for like Luke Skywalker. I'm gonna pull up this search. And you schedule some open houses, you take a look at the properties, and you see like his price range is just not right for him. So what's cool about this is you could be out with Luke Skywalker, he's walking around the house and he says, I really, I think this is too much for us. We want to drop the price, $50,000 range. You don't have to go back to your office to make that change. It's really simple. You can actually make the change from your app. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to tap on Luke Skywalker's search, and then there's a filter option right here. So I'm going to tap on filter, and this is where my search parameters are going to be. So we have 300,000 to 350,000. So what I'm going to do is I want to change this to 250,000 to 300,000. The listings. And I want to save this so when he has a subscription attached to this search, it'll just fire off listings between 250 and 300,000. So to do that, we're just going to go up to the 3 dots and we're going to save it. And so once we've saved that, now his search has been updated. We changed it from 300,000 to 350,000 down to 250 to 300,000. So again, I didn't go back to my office or go back home to make that change. I'm out with my client Luke right now. You know, we looked at some properties. He's just like, ooh, this is a little pricey for us. We don't actually need anything that fancy. So that he wanted to drop it down. So you made the change right there. And just to verify that that is correct, we're going to go back into our saved searches. And if we go to the filter option, we will see the change. So we scroll down, we see 250 to 300,000. So it's a really cool thing that you can do is you can update searches. Now, this is why I saved this for last, the new search right here. You can actually do searches from your mobile app, and this will save in your app, but also will sync into the desktop site. So really cool thing. So let's do that. We're going to tap on new search. And let me just switch to the residential, one-residential. I have one called My Quick Search. I created my own quick search template in the FlexMOS 201 class. Okay, so there's a couple different ways we can start this search. Now I showed you before, we can do the filter button, and this will allow us to change search parameters. So I'm going to tap on filter, and I can start with location. So I'm going to put in Jacksonville. And let's scroll down. So we're down to 267 listings. So every time you make a change, this number will refresh. And so let's put a price range at 275 to 325. Keep going. So we're down to 16 listings. Let's do 3 to 5 beds. We'll do 2 baths. Okay, so we got 16. Let's try 1,800 to 2,200 square feet. Down to 2 listings. So maybe we'll change that to 2,500. Okay, we have 3 listings. So let's imagine that this is a search that we're doing specifically for a client. Now, what is the context of this? Well, whenever I train people, I tell them always make sure you have your realtor name badge on wherever you go, especially like say you're at Walmart or Costco, because people will come up to you and talk to you. And in a place where you're at on the beach, you may have people that are coming up to you, you know, they're on their vacation and they are interested in buying a property there. So you have your realtor name badge on and they come up to you and they say, hey, you know, we really like the area. Can we work with you? And if you have some time, so there's 2 ways to do this. We'll talk about the portal in a little bit, but if you have some time to get like what they're interested in, pull out your phone, put in the search parameters. And so now we have a search. So I'm going to click on, or I'm actually going to just keep the square footage 0 or not put a thing because I want to draw on the map, make sure we have enough listings for that. But you can put in as much information. And also you'll notice if you don't have the field that you need, there is an option right here that says add filter. So if I tap on add filter, it shows me all the different fields if I scroll down. But if I know what I'm looking for, say like lot acres or lot dimensions, I tap on that. So there's a lot of acres. Let's see, maybe we can get something with quarter acre lot. Or let's see, let's try half an acre. There, so that does drop it down. So yeah, if you need to add any fields, just scroll down to the bottom with your finger and go to that add filter. So any field that you would enter when you're adding a listing, that is a field that can be searched on inside of the app. So it's the same functionality on the desktop site. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap on view 16 listings. And so we see the 16 listings. Now there's 2 ways to look at the listings. You can scroll through and kind of look at what's like a gallery view. Or what you can do is you can switch to the map. Now, if I switch to the map, this will allow me to draw on the map with my finger if I want to narrow this down. Because we did, let me allow location. We did just say Jacksonville, but you might want to do just a part of Jacksonville. You'll notice when I'm hovering over these balloons, it actually shows me a photo of that property. But if I want to draw a shape, and I'm going to use my finger, and if I just hold my finger down on the map and move it one finger, it'll move it left to right, up to down, whatever I want. If you use your index finger and your thumb and you put it on the screen and you pinch in or pinch out, it'll zoom out or zoom in. So again, finger on the map, move it around, use your index finger and your thumb to pinch out or pinch in if you want to see different parts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a shape over on the, actually we'll do this part, the kind of the north, oh, one second. We'll do the north part of Jacksonville. There we go. Draw it up here. And I'm going to use this as my shape. So I'm going to tap on that every time I tap on the map, it gives me a point. And when I'm done, finished connecting the dots, and then it's drawing a shape. So originally I had 16 listings. Now it's just showing 3 in this shape. So I'm going to click on the X to return back to the results. And so now we have three listings. So I see this one's back on market. This one, and we have this one. Okay, so I'm going to tap on the first one. So I tap on the first listing, give it a second to load. And if I want to look at the photos, I can just scroll through the photos by using the arrows. If I want to go full screen, this is the option to go full screen. And if you turn your device sideways, you would see it go full screen that way. And so this is the Fleximalist Pro app. So you see all the information. So I keep going, scrolling down. So you'll see documents. So you can pull up the PDF documents from on your phone. If you want to go into Realist, you can do that as well. RPR, if you should have an RPR account, that'll pull it up. Showing time, you could schedule a showing. So let's say you find a property, you see a sign while you're driving in between other properties and you want to schedule a showing, you can do the showing time, or you can view the showing info. Some houses just says vacant, go show. So, you don't even have to schedule it. But that view showing info information right here will show you what are the requirements from the listing realtor. And so it says appointment required, lockbox, occupied pet. So obviously this one would require a bit more, preparation, but sometimes it's just at least 2 hours notice. Sometimes they just say vacant, go show, and you saw a property while you're driving around, you were already in a neighborhood that they like. So then you could check out that property. Okay, we'll go back to the listing. Okay, so that is how you can find some listings from a search. Now what we're going to do is we're going to save this search so we don't have to do it again. So to do that, it's very simple. I'm going to go to share. Now you're probably used to the save search and subscription wording on the desktop site. On the mobile app, it's just called share. So I'm going to tap on share and give this a name. Okay, I don't think I've used Mace in a while. So we'll say 275K plus North Jacks. So I know exactly what it is, and I'm going to click on save and share. Now, you'll notice that it says subscribe to updates. Now, what this means is this is a subscription, and subscriptions on mobile are automatically ASAP, meaning as soon as possible. What that means is when you save a search on the desktop site, it gives you 3 options: a daily search, a monthly search, and as soon as possible. Now, as soon as possible means an email or a subscription or auto email drip system, whatever you want to call it, fires off once the listing has hit the MLS. So for new listings, it's going to be about 10 minutes. So After 10 minutes, a new listing gets fired off in a subscription. Price changes and status changes are about 2 to 5 minutes. And so using the ASAP option is a really cool thing. Well, on the Pro app, mobile app, it's automatically ASAP. You don't have other options. So I just want to make sure you are aware of that. But before we do that, I'm going to do select contact. And see, I look at my list of contacts. And so I don't see Mace there. So 1 second, I just got to move my Zoom screen around. I'm going to tap on add contact. Putting this information. So again, the context of this is we ran into Mace at Walmart. And I have time to talk to him to find out what he's looking for. So I've done a search for him. You know, it's taken 3-4 minutes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to email him listings. And so I'm going to email him listings, but this is setting up the search and subscription. So tap on email. And so now I've set up that search and subscription, and he is able to access it. So that is assuming that you have time with him. Well, later on in class, we're going to talk about, well, what if you don't have time? You run into someone, you just got a couple minutes. We set up a search and subscription right here. But if you don't have a lot of time, what you can do is you can invite someone to the portal. And what's great about the portal is a website your client can log into, tell you what they like, what they don't like. But it does not require a search. They can do their own searching. And what's cool about the portal is, they're already doing their own searching on other sites. So the reason to use the FlexMost portal is, one, it is live, up-to-date information. Like I said before, new listings get fired off in about 10 minutes. Price changes and status changes about 2 to 5 minutes. So that's the number one reason. If your clients or prospective clients are used to using Zillow or Redfin or other sites, there's no guarantee that that's going to be up to date. When I was an MLS director last year, I got daily calls from my members saying, hey, we made a change in Flex MLS and Zillow is still not reflecting that change. It's been 2 days. So then I'd have a special email to email Zillow and say, hey, can you update this? And they usually update it in a couple of days. But that, Flex MLS is the primary source of data, where Zillow or Redfin or other sites, they are not. And so they aren't always reflecting the current changes. And in a hot rental market, especially right now where you just have some crazy buying going on, that really can hurt your clients. So what you want to do then is, if someone's looking to buy something up and they keep going to Zillow, they keep reaching out to people and say, hey, we want to buy this, and it's like it's already pending or closed, tell them, hey, why don't I give you access to the FlexMost portal? This is what I see. The only difference is they see the public version, meaning they don't have access to the other realtor, or they don't have access to the private fields. But again, live, up-to-date information. Number one reason. The second reason is you can track what they're looking at. But why is this important? Well, if your client's doing searching in another site, you really don't know what they like or what they don't like, because they might save listings. Sometimes they can't even really verbalize what they're interested in. But if you get them on the portal, they save listings, they hide listings, they see what they're viewing. So it generates data for you. And what's really important about this, and we'll talk about this in a little bit when we get to the contact section, is let's say you run into someone at Walmart and say, oh, we're in a hurry, but we're really interested in buying here. Set them up with the portal. It only takes a couple minutes. And then what you say is, okay, I'm going to reach out to you in a couple days after you've been playing around with the portal, and then we'll talk. And what you do with those couple of days is you let them generate data for you, which we will see in the contact section. Each contact record will show what they're viewing, what they're saving, what they're hiding. That will give you then a reason to contact them and say, okay, hey, why don't we take a look at this property? So we will get to that in a little bit. But what we're focusing on right here is just very simple. We saved a search while we were out in the field. And so I did that by tapping on which is your start screen, the magnifying glass, and then we go to new search. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the hot sheet. So when I go to the hot sheet, you'll notice like there's 149 new listings. Why are there so many new listings? Because I have not filtered yet. This is showing everything in North Carolina regional. So I'm going to go to the filter button and go into new location. So let's type in Jacksonville again. But you'll notice you can do subdivisions if you'd like. You could do multiple subdivisions. And we'll just do the past 2 days or past 3 days, past week. Now I want you to pay close attention to this explanation. If I were to do today, this means everything since 12:01 a.m. Whereas on the desktop site, your hot sheet is 24 hours back, 48 hours back, 72 hours back. It goes by hours, where the mobile app is actually the whole day. So today means 12:01 a.m. If I did past 2 days, you understand that would be 12:01 a.m. for yesterday. So we're just going to view the events. And so we have one new listing, closed, pending. So let's do a new listing. Pull this up. So 174,000. Okay. So one thing I do want to point out when you're looking at listings, that this card in the upper right corner, there's going to be 3 dots. The 3 dots, whenever you see them inside of FlexMLS, it means more options. So one thing I want to show you is if I tap on the 3 dots, I could share, view, show, and info. But one thing that I like to do is the recommend. Now, why is recommend important? Well, when you have a portal for someone, you don't even have to have a search. I mean, you can, but they're going to save listings. They're going to hide listings. They can share them. So what you can do though is, let's say you did save a search for a client and they're looking between 150 and 170,000. Maybe they're looking to buy a house for their kid. Well, when they're looking between 150 and 170,000, this listing would not show up in their search. But let's say you happen to know this area really well, and for this area, 174,000 is like a steal. Like, a lot of these houses on that street are going for 200,000. So you tell them, well, I may recommend listings to you, like say once a week. It isn't quite exactly what you're looking for, but I know this area well, and I think it would be a good fit. So what you can do is you can recommend a listing. And when you tap on recommended, you'll see your list of contacts. And I'm just going to tap on Mace. And so it says listing recommended successfully. So you've now recommended that listing to Mace. And so when he logs into his portal, he will see there's a section for recommended, and it should also show up in his news feed. So how listings work in the portal is the newest listings, the price changes, and the status changes. They're in a news feed, so the newest one's up at the top. So it's kind of like Twitter. If you have a Twitter account, the newest things are up at the top to keep track of those listings. So in the hot sheet, I find it's a really cool thing. If you just want to keep track of what's going on, and you have this app with you, like you're looking at some open houses with your client and say, hey, yeah, we're going to check the upstairs. Pull out your app and just see, hey, is anything hit the market? Especially right now, we know how fast things are going. So, you could pull up and you might see new listings, say, oh, we're in that neighborhood right now. That's exactly what they're looking for. Why don't I pull up that property? And again, you can get driving directions, or you could see the show in the info. Maybe this house right here is one of those ones that is vacant, go show. And you can take a look at it right away while you're already with your client. So the purpose of the FlexMLS Pro app is that it has most of the functionality of the desktop site, but it's for ease of use while you're out in the field with your clients. Now, the FlexMLS Pro app for Android, this works on obviously an Android phone, but if you have a full-size tablet, you can use the app. But what also you can do is, if you have a full-size tablet, a Google tablet, is you turn your tablet sideways and you can go to www.flexmls.com, go to the full site. If you need full functionality, you can use it on your tablet. And I frequently do that. I have an iPad tablet, but I'll use my phone as a mobile hotspot and then pull up my tablet and I'll pull up the full site. If you need to change listings, you need to do a CMA or pull up stats or anything, CMAs and stats are not something you do on the app. But you can if you have a full-size tablet. And what's really cool about that is the Android tablets, I mean, iPads are under 300 now, but you can get a nice Google or Android tablet for under 100. And so what I recommend to people when I'm training is that keep a tablet in your car at all times. And like we know right now, people are social distancing, but before, and it will, get back to normal. If you're driving to different properties with your clients, sometimes, you have 20, 30 minutes in between properties. Again, use your phone as a mobile hotspot, hand over your tablet to your client, have them log into the portal, do their own searching. You can teach them how to use the portal while you're with them. Like maybe they flew into town from New York or another place. So when they go back home, they already know how to use the portal. So a full-size tablet, even less than $100, is a really great idea. Okay, so now we're going to go to the contact section. We already did searching and we did the hot sheet. We're going to go to the contact section. So in the contact section, you're going to see information about your clients. And the first thing I notice is it says sort by most active last 7 days, and Wedge is really blue. And if I scroll down, I see, for example, Lando, Mace, Obi-Wan, R2-D2, they don't have a bar here. This bar is in reference to the portal, who has been the most active in the portal. So I have not invited these guys to the portal yet. So we talked about the portal before. It's a website your client can log into, tell you what they like, what they don't like. But what's really cool about this is Fleximus, and this same functionality is going to be on your desktop site. It sorts your clients on who are the most active. And why this is important is, let's imagine, you got a little bit of free time in the afternoon and you want to reach out to a client you haven't talked to in a while. Well, who do you talk to? Do you talk to someone who hasn't logged into their portal in 2 months? Or do you talk to Wedge, who has been using the portal very recently? So I see he's very active. And if I want to see more specific information, I can tap on his name. And I see, okay, he was really active 2 days ago. This is the contact I used for my Apple class. But what's so important about this, and this is why I say the portal is a great thing, is what do we see? Well, he's viewed 8 listings. And so the context of Wedge right here is I met him at Costco, and he was in a hurry, and like he has kids, one of them was crying. He's just like, hey, we want to look at some properties, and I don't have a lot of time. So what I'm going to do next is I'll walk you through the process. So what I told Wedge is I said, hey, well, I'm going to set you up with the portal, and the portal is the website. This is what I see, and it's live, up-to-date information, and I can see what you're looking at to help you with their search. And you say, have you been using Zillow and other sites, and are you just really frustrated because everything you think is active is actually already pending or closed? Like, yeah. Well, that's your kind of your portal speech. So what you do is you get his information, you invite him to the portal, and then you explain what the portal is. Spend about a minute. Then you tell him, okay, hey, pull up your phone. We're gonna log you into the portal right now. We're gonna sign you up right now. So you do that process. The whole thing takes about 2 minutes, and then he has access to the portal. We have not saved a search or subscription, but we're letting him have access to the portal. And then this is the 2 days later, I'm gonna look at what he's doing. So then this is my reason to reach out to him. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna view his listings that he's been tapping on. So I go to view listings. And the first thing that jumps out to me is, hey, that property on 113 Pine Lakes Drive, he's tapped on that 5 times. So he's probably really interested in it. So I write that address down, and that is when I call him later today. I say, hey, looks like you're really interested in that Pine Lakes Drive one. Are you still in town? He's like, oh yeah. I was like, why don't we schedule a showing and take a look at that one? So again, I have not saved a search and subscription. I literally spent 2 minutes signing him up to the portal, and then he did all the work himself. And so I'm gonna go back. So that is the listing that he has viewed a bunch. But other things is they can share listings. So they're going to share listings to husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, that kind of thing. So if I go to a shared listing, this is another one he's probably really interested in. And so I write down that address. And so I said, okay, well, why don't we schedule the one on the 113, and then we'll schedule this one on King Richard Court. So I literally spent 2 minutes signing him up with the portal, let him do his own thing. And then I reached out to him. I have a reason to reach out to him. And I told him when I met him, okay, I'm going to give you a few days and then I'll reach out to you. This is your in. You know, you're not just, you know, cold calling, you know, hoping like, you know, will you be my client? You have a reason to reach out to him. You're helping him what he wants to do anyways, is he wants to look at listings on his own time. And that's what's great about the portal is what you can do is now you find out what he likes. You can save a search and subscription after the fact, but a search and subscription, it's really reactive. A listing comes on the market, then it gets fired off to him. Whereas a portal is proactive. If he can't sleep at 1 in the morning and he wants to look at listings, he logs in that portal. It's proactive. He can do what he wants. So getting your clients on the portal, especially right now, because the market is just insane. I was talking to someone in the Poconos, and I assume it's probably similar where you're at, but they're having crazy bidding wars from people from New York City. They're buying houses sight unseen, and you know, just because they want to get out of the city. So, you know, giving people access to the portal, especially again, new listings within 10 minutes. You're not going to get on that in Zillow. It could be a couple of hours or days. Price changes and status changes, same thing, 2 to 5 minutes. Zillow, it could take days for that to update. So if you pull up a contact record, you can see how active they are and what they're looking at. Now, okay, so how do we, with that in mind, how do we add someone to a portal without doing a search and subscription? It's very, very simple. So let's imagine I run into a new person. Let's see, who haven't I used? Okay, I'll do this for Red Leader. So you pull up your app and you say, okay, well, I'm gonna invite you to the portal. So it's very, very simple. You just go to their contact record right here and you tap on add contact. You get their email address. Now what's cool about this is I know sometimes people will give you incorrect email addresses, especially like things like open houses where they have to write something down. Well, you're with Red Leader right now, and so you tell them, hey, I'm going to send you an email right now, and then I'm going to have you pull it up so I can walk you through the process. So you know he's going to give you a correct email address. So put in the information, and if he's got a cell phone, click on done. So literally you put that in, and then right here, send invite. That's how simple it is. This is the invitation to the portal. So I tap on send invite and click on send. So that literally took me about 30 seconds. So while the time it takes for the email to arrive might be 30 seconds or a minute, you know, sometimes it's instantaneous. What you do is you explain what the portal is. And so you say, well, you know, you talk about how Zillow and, you know, other sites, they're not the primary source of data. You are a realtor or you belong to an MLS, you have the source of data. So what you're saying is, hey, I'm going to give you access to what I see to better help you with your search. And so everyone says you have like your 30-second elevator speech. I'd have your, you know, 30-second or minute-long portal speech. You explain what it is, and then, you know, what he's going to do is he's going to pull up that, you know, after you explain it, he's going to pull up that email, and then you can walk him through the process. So I'll see if we can do that quickly. So it's Red Leader 7. So I use Mailinator for testing and for classes, so I don't have to generate new emails every time. Okay, so Chewy has invited you to sign up. This is the portal invitation email. And so literally you just tap on sign up. It asks him to put in a password. I recommend like 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he has the access to the portal. And so the portal is, you know, he can do his own searching, save listings, hide listings, but the whole process literally takes less than 2 minutes. And I would, you know, when I teach a portal class in person, we'd normally role play as the client and as the agent and take turns. So practice with your coworkers or friends or family members. And then once you have this down, you know, someone comes up to you, you know, get them onto that portal immediately. And when they log into the portal, the first thing they see is your smiling face, your headshot. That's on the first screen. So they associate you with their search, and then they can't reach out to the other realtors. When it says contact agent, it means you. So if you have just a couple minutes, again, get them hooked up to the portal. And what's great about that is, again, no saved search or subscription is required. And if I scroll down, I see there's no saved search for Red Leader, but I can always go right here. I showed you how to do your own search. You could either do it on the desktop site, or you could start a new search. And what I mean by that is, like we were working with Wedge, we saw he liked a couple properties, and then maybe he's like 5 properties. He's viewed a bunch. And you look at these properties and you start writing down the characteristics. It's like, okay, he wants to be in Jacksonville. Everything's between 250 and 300,000, and he really wants 4 bedrooms. And so when you reach out to them in a couple of days, you say, hey, is this what you're looking for? You know, it looks like you want Jacksonville, 250, 300. It's like, yeah. It's like, okay, well, why don't I save a search and set up a subscription for you? And so we do it after the portal. But what the subscription basically does is it's a reminder to go back into the portal. And once he has that portal in his browser, that portal cookie, every time he taps on a subscription, it'll log him back into the portal. So I do recommend doing the subscription, the portal together, because it's a great idea. But for the purposes of like mobile, you're out with someone, you meet someone at Starbucks, again, wear your realtor name badge everywhere. Because I know when I was an MLS director last year, I told all my new members to do that. And they'd come up to me and say, hey, I'm getting so much business by just people coming up to talk to me. Because in Arizona, there were a lot of transplants coming from California. And so, you know, a lot of people, they see a realtor, they assume you're an expert, they want to talk to you. And so having your name badge on is a great idea. Okay, so just kind of sum that up again. You go into your contacts, you can see information about your individual contacts. But what we're doing for the purposes of this class is we're adding new contacts that we meet out while we're out in the field. Or if you want to, someone who you've already added as a contact, like Wedge, you want to see, hey, you know, what is he viewing? What is he sharing? And that, like the viewed listings, we see he's viewed something 5 times. It means he's probably really interested in that property. Okay, so the next section we're going to go to is the collection section right here. Now you'll notice that I already have a collection called Houses to Watch. This right here is a personal collection. This is personal meaning me, but you also have the option to add to a portal collection. And you'll see that selected is 0. So what I mean by that is I'm actually going to pull up the hot sheet. And I'm going to pull up the new one. And whenever I'm looking at a listing, it gives me an option to select. And when I do that, it gives me a checkbox. And so now we see number 1 batch. So I'm going to select the new listing. And then let's do the pending ones as well. So I'm selecting some listings so I can do something with them. Now, why is this important? Well, what's great about collections is collections. Let me just select these 2. Collections, the listings always stay inside the collection. Whereas if I save a search for active listings, if something becomes pending, that listing will no longer be in that search. Whereas collections, if I save 3 listings to collections, they will always stay there. So it's a great way to keep track of things. Now, you may want to just keep track of houses that have expired for yourself. But let's say your Mace is, you know, in town every weekend, and we're going to 3 or 4 properties every weekend, and you were up to 20 properties. He still doesn't like anything. And so how do you keep track of that? Well, if you select listings, you can save them into a collection. And so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go to here. We look at the 3 selected listings. Now, I obviously picked stuff off the hot sheet, but this could be from a search, however you want to do it. So selected some listings. What I can do is go to the 3 dots. Again, the 3 dots means more options. And it says 2 things, add to personal collection and add to contact collection. So if I just want to have houses that I'm personally watching, I can add all to the personal collection. And that's this right here, houses to watch. And so that houses to watch will now have 6 listings. And if I tap on this again, houses to watch 6. The other thing you do would, again, we're doing open houses for a specific client. So that is a portal collection. So let's go through the same process. We'll go to the 3 dots. And we're going to add to contact collection. So when you save it to a contact, when they log into the portal, they'll actually be on the left side. There'll be a section like when they'll the listings that they've saved, that they've hidden, anything that you recommended, but also whatever that name of the collection is. So I'm going to add this to a contact collection. We'll choose Mace. And don't worry, this is being recorded. This is a couple more steps probably than you're comfortable with right now. But like once you've done this a few times, it is really easy. So create a new collection. I'm just going to say this Mace's open houses. So I want to keep track of all these open houses that I'm doing with Mace because we're going to see a lot. Click on save. No, okay. So we're having a little bit of error, but that should add it. It's Murphy's Law whenever you're trying, something goes wrong. Might just be because I just added Mace as a contact, so it might require a couple more minutes to update. But if you want to look at listing collections on a contact record, you could pull up a contact like Wedge. Let's see if he's got a collection. Go to collections. There you go, Wedge's open houses. So I'm keeping track of all the open houses that Wedge is going to. So that's collections. And then here, the hamburger, you can see any messages between you and your client through the app. Otherwise, you can go to members. If you want to type, so you have an office, members or teams. I want to just find, maybe I was looking for a specific Jessica. So I've had AEs or CEOs of boards tell me that when they need to reach out to members, they'll just pull them up in the FlexMost Pro app. I find it's easier than using like their member management system. You know, call them or whatever, email them. So that's a cool thing. And then if you click on your initials in the upper right corner, you can pull up your profile, listings, office listings. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to log out of this account and switch to my testing account. Just to show you, there's one more functionality that people do not realize that they can use. Oh, let me switch to m.fleximust.com. Okay, now the functionality is here, it's the My Listings. Now, one thing that you can do is you can make some basic changes to your listings from your app. So what's cool about this is I'm gonna pull up, this is my listing. In the upper right corner, I'm gonna tap on Edit. And so if I pull up my listing on my FlexMost app, there's a couple of different things I can do. One, I can change the status. So if you just need to add a contingency or suddenly pen something, you don't have to go back to the office. You can do it right here from your phone. You can also change the price. So maybe you meet your client at Starbucks or something and you start discussing and say, hey, you know, this has been on the market for a while. We should probably drop the price, and say yes. Well, you know, you happen to know that it's 2 or 3 in the afternoon. A lot of people are on the MLS. It's, you know, it's not 11 o'clock at night, and you want to get multiple visibility. Changing that price so it hits the hot sheet so other realtors see it. You know, do it right from your phone. Again, you don't have to go back to your office. Another cool thing is photos. Is a lot of people, and I dealt with this a lot last year, is people would take photos and then they put them on their computer, or they didn't know how to get them to the computer and they couldn't find the folder. So with your, if you took your photos with your Android phone, you can go to photos and you can add photos from your phone directly to your app. So you don't have to go use your computer as like the middleman. You can upload them directly from your phone to that listing. So that is a great option. And then finally, also you can add it to an open house. So the 4 things you can do on your listings from the app now is change a status, change a price, add photos or remove photos, change photos, and then add it to an open house. So Okay, so I'm at 50 minutes. We have had no questions. Do we have any questions before I end?
It does not appear so. Thank you, Jeff, for your time this week. We
Okay, well,
appreciate
thank
you.
Yeah, so we can stop recording, and I want to thank you for joining us and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Bye.